So I didn't specifically plan on making a video about this, but I kind of want to talk about the show Pluribus. 2 episodes are out now, and this will be a bit of a spoiler-filled video because I mostly want to talk about episode 2. So I have to spoil episode 1 to get to episode 2. This is the new show created by Vince Gilligan, who of course was the guy that brought us Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, 2 of the best TV shows to ever exist, in my opinion. But before he did those shows, he worked on The X-Files, and this show, Pluribus, is going to be more of a science fiction show than Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. It does not take place in the same universe. It's not connected or anything, but it does have Ray Seahorn, who of course played Kim Wexler on Better Call Saul, and she was amazing in that show, and she is playing the lead character, Carol, in Pluribus. So I was very curious to check this out, obviously being a huge fan of Better Call Saul and her character in that show, and to check out what Vince Gilligan was going to do within a different genre. It still feels like those shows in a sense because it still takes place in that area of the world and a lot of the same crew is there, so they're doing a lot of the big wide scope sort of shots that they did in Better Call Saul, the cold openings that are a little bit confusing that tie into what the show is going to be later. So they still have that kind of specific style that Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul did. But yeah, this is definitely a high science fiction show, and it's only 2 episodes in, so I don't want to necessarily overpraise it or anything because I don't know where it's going to go. And honestly, with a concept like this show has, I'm really curious how you're going to get it to stretch multiple seasons. It feels like maybe it should be, like a limited series or something, but we'll see where it goes. But I want to talk about it because I've been thinking about it ever since I watched it last night. I watched it very late at night and past midnight, and I'm sitting there thinking about it as I'm falling asleep. I think I had dreams about it. I woke up today still thinking about the show, and the thing that really, really has my curiosity piqued is episode 2. Episode 1 I thought was good. I thought it was fine. I thought it was very well made, but it didn't really do anything for me in the sense of like, oh my God, like this is incredible. I liked it. Episode 1 I thought was really good, but it just kind of like sets up the stage a little bit. Like it didn't grab me the same way like Breaking Bad episode 1 did, or even Better Call Saul was really episode 2 that kind of got the ball rolling for me on that one also. So similarly, it wasn't until episode 2 where I kind of saw the vision a little bit of what this show might be about. And yeah, I've been thinking about it ever since. So essentially, we have a show that works a little bit like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where in the beginning of the first episode, scientists discover this signal that's being sent to Earth, and they're looking for extraterrestrial life and everything. And so they're trying to decipher what this signal means and what it could be. And what it ultimately comes down to basically is the signal is a formula for something that works kind of like a virus that spreads very quickly. And I'm sure there's some themes going on here from the pandemic that we just went through and everything, because it's transferred through, I guess, bodily fluids or saliva specifically. So one of the scientists creates this, gets infected, immediately kisses the other scientist, swaps it through spit, it takes over instantly, they go out and spread it, and then you got characters that are licking donuts and putting them back, and you got characters that are swabbing their mouths and sending it out, and slowly but surely this virus is spreading throughout all of humanity until it gets to the point where it infests the military, and they start to throw like the chemtrails in the planes overhead that spread everywhere, and within like a month's time, almost everybody in the world is completely infected. But the unique thing about this, and I have seen this concept done before, but I think that's going to probably be done the best in this show, is that how this works, at least as far as I understand it so far within 2 episodes, is it's not like an alien takes over your mind or body. You're still yourself, except now there is this sort of hive mind, ultimate like world domination through peace and happiness that is going throughout the entire world, where everybody is connected, everybody knows everything about each other, and everybody is like working towards making the world a peaceful kind of utopia, right? So in a way, it gets rid of individuality. It gets rid of the feeling of the ability to choose in a way. Like they can't really choose in a way that's going to upset anybody else. Everything is ultimately all about peace. So they're not allowed to kill. Like, they can't even kill animals. They can't kill anything. There's no crime. There's no, subjugation anymore. There's no war. There's no racism. There's no anything. Like, everything is gone. Everything negative in the world is immediately disposed of. Like, it's immediately gone. Everybody's happy. Everyone's doing their jobs. Everyone's helping each other out. Everything is working like a hive for the greater goal of the species. So it is a similar scenario to like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, except we're still ourselves. And we're all working in unity, and everybody has like the knowledge of everybody else. So everybody knows how to fly a plane. Anybody can do surgery. Anybody can fix anything electrical. Like, everybody knows how to do everything. It's like we're all, one is all is one. It's this ultimate connectivity throughout the entire species, and it spreads throughout the entire world. But then we have our main character, Carol, played by Ray Seahorn, and she is this author that is writing books that is basically not necessarily what she wants to be writing, but it's the thing that's selling and the things that people like. And the first episode really kind of just shows us who she is as a person. She is in a lesbian relationship with a girl that ends up dying as the takeover happens. So after the chemtrails kind of get spread over the top of everybody sort of goes into this like paralysis, seizure-like state. Like, cars are crashing. If you were doing something at the time, you stop, you kind of seize out. And for some reason, Carol is not affected by this. And we don't know why yet. I'm sure will be explained later on. But she's like one of the only people in the world that is not affected by this. So she's just trying to save, I don't know if it's her girlfriend or her wife or whatever. She's trying to get her to the hospital, gets her to the hospital, and everybody there is also in like the paralysis-like state. And then suddenly everybody snaps out of it. And then everybody wants to help her. But they're a little bit too helpful. And it's to the point where everybody knows that she's not infected, but they want her to be. But in the meantime, they're not, like I said, they are incapable of being violent. Like, they are not going to be like, you're going to join us by force. They're thinking, okay, well, we're just going to figure out why you're immune and we'll fix it, and then you can be part of us. And in the meantime, they're like helping her out with everything. It's like, oh, do you want me to take her to the, do you want me to dispose of the body for you? Or do you want me to do this? Or what would you like? Here's a glass of water. Don't worry, Carol, everything's good. Like, it is world domination through happiness, through like, the removal of your ability to feel any kind of negative emotion or any kind of choice that you would make that would hurt anybody else in any way. You're only capable of being positive and helpful and useful. And like, that's it. And like I said, I've seen this idea done before in media. Like, I'm a big fan of the TV show Angel, which was a spinoff of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And there's literally a plot thread in season 4 that is like this, where, the same kind of thing happens. Like, everybody becomes happy and connected and peaceful, and there's like no negativity in the world anymore. But at the detriment of that is that you take away humans' ability to choose. You're taking away individualism. And you look at the pros and cons of both sides and you think, what would actually ultimately be better for the world, right? Like, would it actually be a good thing if we were to all give ourselves over to this and remove or suspend that thing that makes us unique and that thing that makes us individuals in order to create a greater good of peace? Or is it worth having negativity and violence in the world if it means that we get to be ourselves and make our own choices and do what we want to do? And so that's kind of like the moral question of it. And I've seen people say like there's themes in here about AI or, obviously cults and cultism. And, I don't personally think there's anything necessarily like political in the show, but a lot of people have taken it in that direction too. And in a way, I mean, yeah, like tribalism and hive mind mentality. I mean, that really is a large portion of what all of that stuff is, and also what a lot of the internet is. We get the internet is supposed to be this thing that opens us up to many different worldviews and all different manners of thinking, and is this unlimited resource of knowledge. We can learn anything we want in an instant But what happens with most people on the internet? We get into our little bubbles, our little pockets, our little hive minds, and then we only ever just regurgitate and reciprocate the same thing over and over, and we don't really expand our minds. And in a way, the internet makes us even more closed-minded, right? Because all we do is associate. Anyways, all I'm talking about is like the idea of cults, the idea of the removal of individualism, the ability to think for yourself. And like the hive mind having this unlimited knowledge, like everybody knows everything that everybody else would know, so it's like this unlimited resource at our disposal, but at the fault of just not being able to think for ourselves and make our own choices. So anyways, that's like the premise. That's the setup for the first episode. And Carol is immune to this for whatever reason. So that was fine. And that was intriguing. And I thought it was a very well-made episode. And I was like, okay, interesting. Let's see where this goes. I thought the first episode was good. But then episode two is what really sold me. Because in episode 2, we find out that we found out two major things in episode 2. Before I get to that, the first major thing is that even though Carol is not affected by the hive mind, there's still this connectivity with everybody. And when she experiences moments of intense rage and anger, like she gets to the point where she's almost physically violent with one of the infected, it causes this sort of ripple effect that everybody starts to seize out and go into that kind of like catatonic state as if, right when they were, being transitioned the first time. And they start to go into this like paralysis state. And then once they come out of it, you realize that it's because they were reacting to Carol's negativity, because in the hive mind, there's no negativity, there's no anger, there's no rage, there's no bad emotions, there's no violence. And so her violence affects it on such a large scale that it actually managed to kill like millions of people in the world. And so this is a major, major drawback in her trying to fight back against these people, because she is effectively, anytime that she would attribute any kind of violence or rage or animosity towards the hive mind, the entire planet gets affected. There's no longer any individualism. So any damage that you inflict upon one affects the many. And so if she is rageful and violent towards one, it like spreads out and affects the entire world. And within their recovery, like once they come out of the seizure-like state, actually a lot of people didn't make it out of the seizure-like state, and a bunch of people died. And so now if Carol wants to help these people or fix these people or solve the virus problem, well, now she can't do it in any kind of violent way, because she's going to end up killing, millions of innocent people in the process. And so what's the second way? Okay, so she asks one of the infected, because they can't be mean. They're very comforting and nurturing and accommodating to her. If she asks them for something, they will do it, because they just need happiness throughout the entire world. So if she needs a bulldozer to dig a hole in the backyard, somebody that is going to fly a plane, and anybody can fly a plane because we all have the same connected knowledge, can just bring that to her. So she asked them, are there any other people that were not infected? And there's a couple of people around the world that were not infected like her, and they determined that 5 of them can speak English. So she needs to speak to somebody that she can understand and talk to. So she sets up a meeting with the 5 other people that were not infected that can speak her language. And you think, this is going to be our main characters of the show, right? Like these are going to be our ragtag group of heroes that are trying to set out to save the world from this infection, until you meet these 5 people. And this was brilliant, because all of the people that she meets really could not give less of a shit about what's happening. They are just the most mundane, average people you could imagine, except for one of them. I'll talk about him in a second. But like, okay, so one of them is like an older man. One of them is a woman that has a family that's already very pissed off because she knows that Carol's rage earlier caused everybody to seize out, which actually killed her grandfather in that seizure epidemic. So there's that. There's another younger woman that just doesn't care, an old lady. So it's not like 5 group of heroes that can save the world. They're all just random people. You got like an old man, an old lady, a woman that doesn't care, a younger woman that doesn't care. And they're all thinking, well, we still have our families, so they're still there. Everything's kind of good. There's like no war anymore. So we don't really mind. And some of them are like, yeah, well, they'll figure out a way to get us to be part of the hive mind too. And then, any kind of reservations that we have will go away. So that's fine. And Carol's sitting there like, are you guys going, like she goes in, she asks, okay, is anybody a scientist? Does anybody know anything about biology? Is there anything we can do to to fix this or to save people? And they're all just like, they're all just like dead-eyed people that you would see wandering through Walmart on like a Wednesday night. And they're all just like, well, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Like, it's just like, I don't give a shit. And that sort of like brings us to like the idea of like how many people don't care or how many people have no passion or no interest or no individuality to themselves whatsoever anyways. And people are already like this without having to be part of a hive mind. You think about people and how they just scroll through Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and they just agree with everything they see, or they don't actually read the articles. They just see the headline, and then all of a sudden they make that their personality for like the next week. Nobody researches anything on their own. Nobody nobody like thinks for themselves anymore. And this just makes it 10 times easier for them to not have to think for themselves, because if the whole world is going to be so nice and peaceful and accommodating, then you really don't have to worry about anything. You just pretty much do what you want to, which leads us to the fifth main character, fifth character of the group of people that were not infected. And this guy is just living the dream. He is using this to fully embrace just being this like rich player guy that's wearing eccentric clothes, because they'll just give him the clothes because that's what he wants. We want happiness. So he's got clothes. He's sleeping with supermodels, which brings up a whole other idea of like consent. Like, what does that mean? If like we can't have any negativity, he wants to sleep with them. They'll be like, okay. It's like whatever you do to make each other happy, right? Like there's no choice. There's no saying no. And they're not viewing it as like, they're not doing it reluctantly. Like they're actually saying yes enthusiastically, because now we're part of a hive mind that has to make sure that everything is happy all the time. So it's like, he's sleeping with all of these women, but like, under normal circumstances, they wouldn't sleep with him, but now they would. So it's like, where do you draw the line there as far as the morality goes? And he's also like flying an Air Force One. He's got like, we can have any plane that we want. Like there's no more order in terms of like governments and stuff. So like everybody works for each other. So if somebody wants to fly an Air Force One, it's like, yeah, why not? Sure. It's like, we'll do that. We'll even get like some 9-year-old kid to fly it, because everybody knows how to do everything. And I think it was this part of the show that has really, really sold me and really got me thinking, because it subverts the idea of you're going to have this kind of group of people that weren't infected all enthusiastically working together to save the world. But then you look at the reality of how people are in the world, and how, what's the word I'm looking for? How passive most people are, and how they don't really question the negative side of things. And I've seen it brought up too that there's commentary on AI, brought up in this series as well. I didn't necessarily see that until somebody said it, and I kind of thought about it, and it might be in there a little bit, to where we're not thinking of the downside of this. We're not thinking of the negativity of this. We're not thinking about how this is going to take away creativity and individualism and passion, and more I think than anything else, the motivation somebody would have to get good at art, to get good at storytelling, to want to put a piece of themselves into their art. If AI can just become this thing where anybody can create anything, and it can just take what already exists and create something else, it's going to lead to a lack of motivation and a lack of desire of people wanting to create those things. Now, that's going to take time for AI to build up stronger and people's artistic desires to get weaker, but there is going to be a scale that begins to tip there. And if you look at this whole like infection thing happening, and nobody having to think or create or do anything anymore, and everybody is just so compliant with everything, and there is no individual unique stamp on things anymore, what do we truly become? At what loss does, at so much gain as this new thing can give us, what loss also becomes of it? And I think this show is going to ask those questions, and I am just insanely curious to see how Carol is going to respond to the situation, because she's not like, she's an author. Like, she's a successful author in the show. She's not a scientist. She's not somebody that can that has connections like that. She's not somebody that has even managed to get a group of people together that even care about what's going on. At the same time, she can't react violently against it, because then that causes more people to die. And in the meantime, like, everybody else is just gone, and she's the only person left that is even a person anymore. And this is only 2 episodes in, and that's why I'm thinking, like, where can this show potentially go? Is there going to be a way to reverse the process? The helper, kind of like the infected handler woman that she has now, is she going to be able to kind of like convince her to be her friend on a level that would betray the others? But like, I don't know. Like, I'm just really curious where it's going to go. And like, I'm not necessarily planning on doing reviews of like every episode or anything like that, but I just thought I would get in now and talk about it, because it's been on my mind since I watched episode 2, and I am really curious about where it's going to go. And I'm not just trying to be like a Vince Gilligan like fanboy because I love Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. This is a very different type of show. But I am definitely on board with the premise, with the idea, and I'm really, really curious to see where it goes. So yeah, if you guys watch Pluribus, let me know the first 2 episodes. I looked it up. It's only going to be 9 episodes. I don't know why they didn't just go for 10. I saw it's going to be 9 episodes season 1. So it's going to give us a decent little chunk. I mean, Better Call Saul was 10 episodes per season, basically. So it's going to give us a good chunk of story, and we'll see where it goes. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Leave a thumbs up, comment. Thanks for watching, guys.